Hey, we're Gerald and Tabby, married over 22 years.
And still choosing each other on purpose.
We're definitely better together.
We've been through addictions, infidelity, open adoption, financial crisis, and each other.
She's the drama.
And he's the calm most of the time.
We're not experts, and we're definitely not licensed therapists. But we've learned a lot the hard way, and we're not afraid to talk about it.
For too long, we walked through our struggles alone, but that's not how God designed marriage or life.
This is where we get real about marriage, faith, and the messy stuff no one warns you about after you say, I do.
We call out the bad advice, the fake perfection, and the things that just don't work out in real life. So if you want polished, we're not it.
But if you're looking for honest, then welcome. This is I Still Do. What was it you were saying there? You were saying something that was like, you said, God whispers?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what this podcast should be about today.
God whispers?
God whispers. It's a good term.
I like that.
It's a good term.
Because there was a lot. Because last time we talked about waiting and the miracle of adoption and also the healing and stuff that we went through. But we haven't gotten to what came next in the way that there was a lot of God whispers from him reassuring us along the way. Because with the other failed matches and adoptions, we didn't ever get a nursery set up. We were actually advised not to because we were told it could make it harder to look at a nursery that's put together but no baby in it.
Yeah.
And so we never put together a nursery. However, when we were chosen by Tiana, we came home and put together a nursery.
Mm-hmm. We put together a bed that we already had.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We painted a wall like light green, I think. We chose this elephant bedding that was super cute.
Moved all of our office stuff out of it. Into
like we were like really stepping out in faith, which was kind of, scary to do because we hadn't had luck.
Yeah. Our dog had his own room.
Yeah. Yeah, so we moved what was our office and created a room for Zaden. We painted a wall kind of a light green, and we bought this really cute elephant bedding and got the changing table and everything set up in there, and really we would pray together in that room for him, and we just really stepped out in faith that this was the time that we were bringing the baby home.
Mm-hmm.
And we were able to bring him home, which was so crazy. So after we met Lisa and Tiana, we actually communicated every day. We actually got really close. We got to know them.
We met a few times to eat and hang out.
Yeah, and they met our family. And it was really neat. It was like we were all in. Everybody was all in.
I just remember going to the restaurants, and I think this is where a lot of people have questions at, because I noticed just looking at our podcast, there was a lot of hits on this one, and I think a lot of people want to hear about adoption in a different way sometimes. And you know how we said, I still do, we call out the BS.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something there, I remember being in the restaurants, and a lot of people don't understand this, but a lot of people would see us, and you could see they were trying to figure out, what is going on.
Well, yeah, because it's a bunch of white people surrounding two black people, and one of them's pregnant.
Right.
And you could tell people were trying to, put
two together and try to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then just our interactions and stuff, and there'd be times where we would be engaged in conversation, and then I would look around and I would notice people staring at us, and I'm like, but that was kind of a precursor to kind of what would come down the road of us just kind of understanding that we would look differently.
Yeah.
And even with when we had the boys and stuff at our house, going with them taking them to restaurants and stuff like that. I remember first time going, like taking them to lunch and stuff, especially in a small town. People would just look at you and like, what's going on here? Why do you have these
Why are you
black
with
kids
them?
with you?
Yeah, why are they with you?
Or, I'd be at the bank and there'd be,
Yeah.
these two kids would come to the bank because I was going over bank
Yeah.
account stuff with them and just trying to show them how to use finances and stuff.
Yeah.
And they would come during their break in high school and they would come sit at the bank. And I can remember someone calling me once, like, these two black kids are here and they're asking for you. Should we let them in your office? And I'm like, yeah, you can let them in my office. It's just stuff like that. Like, you don't really, and this plays a part in kind of our thinking too down the road about some decisions we made after we brought Zaden home.
Right.
But I just remember those early days just kind of understanding that. And Lisa, Zaden's birth grandmother, has so much wisdom about those things because she would kind of stop the moment a lot and just kind of address that and talk to us sometimes about that.
Well, she would say, are you prepared for this?
Yeah.
Because this is what's going to happen. And we were like, yeah, we are. And that's where another God whisperer would come in because we'd already been used to it for several years in our little small town.
Yeah.
Of being stared at. Like, wherever we went, we always had a person of color with us. It seemed like wherever we went. We never thought much of it. But looking back, it's like, oh, wait, we were stared at a lot. We were questioned a lot. We were looked at differently, And I guess God was just always preparing. Even when I worked at the majority black and brown school in Houston, I had developed a program for those kids, not based on grades, but behavior in their class. And I'm like, hey, if you don't get, your, like, clothespin moved all the way to red. Maybe if you just stay on green or yellow, like, I'll take you to get a Happy Meal.
Yeah.
And had this reward system on, like, good behavior, and then they just wanted to. But my car would be full of black kids, and I would take them to McDonald's, and I'd get these looks like, what are you doing with these kids, I never let it get to me because...
I think it's just a lot of people in those. I mean, I'm not comparing myself to the plight of what a black person has to walk through.
Oh gosh,
but
no, we never could.
It never could. But also what I'm saying is the other thing I'm talking about more or less is like, I feel like God was preparing us to be able, and you were really on the forefront of that. I was still learning how to really have a backbone and say what's right or wrong. Even like when one time one of our kids got put in the jail, you remember that? And I was sitting there on a Sunday morning playing video games, and I'm kind of bothered by it, and you're like, why don't you just go see them? And I'm like, but they would see me at the jail. Like, I work at this bank. I'm like an executive. Like, I don't want people to see me there.
Let them see you.
And
there.
I remember you were helping me.
Yeah.
Again, this is kind of a marriage moment. Our wives kind of step in that moment to help us have backbones in those moments. They have discernment that we don't have. Just kind of like we were talking with a few teenagers just the other day at Rose's room. It's just sometimes women have discernment that men don't have. Sometimes, and that's why man and woman was created for each other, is because they complement each other too.
Right.
And in those moments, I remember going up to the jail and just feeling almost like this incredible embarrassment. But I'm like, why am I embarrassed? Like, this is a kid I love. Like, I care for him. Like, he made a mistake. I could very easily have been here one day too.
Right.
Or in the past sometime. And I just think all those little things, those little habits or things that happened, just working with the DA in Limestone County with kids and stuff like that. It's like whenever we were stepping up and putting our name on the line for some of these kids we didn't know that well, that weren't our kids, that weren't our son.
Yeah, we were often asked for character references and things like that because no one else would.
And having kids.
And I'm like, heck yeah, we're
I remember the DA would ask us, like, I'm going to sign this kid. He's going to meet with you. This is going to be part of his punishment or his parole. And I was like,
Probation.
what is that? Or probation. Yeah, not parole. Probation. And I would be like, is that okay? He goes, and then he would say it again, I'm going to sign him over to you.
Yeah.
This is part of his probation. And then I finally get it. Oh, you're telling me I'm going to do this to keep him out of jail.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, that's what you're going to do. And I'm like, yes, sir. And so I think in those moments, first meeting Tiana and Lisa, and just really kind of understanding their heart too, because they did have a heart also to understand, like, we were a white couple, so they were very obviously concerned about placing a black child in a white family. Are they going to lose that? Are we going to respect his heritage? Are we going to respect who he is?
Yeah.
Even when we get down the road talking about Zenley, it's like down to the minor things of like skin care and hair care and all these things that kind of come down the pipe. And it was just like, again, like God whispers, like you don't understand how God is really training you and almost putting you in a position, because every time you say yes, he's preparing you for something next. And that's kind of what, go back to the growth book, that's what that was. It was kind of the next step, and here we are meeting with Tiana and Lisa.
And I think before we adopted Zaden, we were put in tough scenarios so that we could handle the everyday life with Zaden and Zenley, because we haven't had really any tough scenarios, but we've had a lot of eyebrow raising scenarios, like people not realizing they're our kids and watching them in stores like hawks, and then when they realize we're their parents, like they're like embarrassed, like, oh, I was watching your kids, or they relax, or they relax, like, oh, well, they got white parents, so they're fine, like, just so we just see things.
Or pet your child, pet your
because they want to touch the hair, and I have to be like, hey, she's not a dog. You don't come up, and they only do that because we're white. They feel safe, right? Like, oh, well, I can pet this black child's hair because she has white parents, and it's just like, ick, no, you can't.
Right.
So, anyways, we're going off on a tangent at the moment, but it's just our life. All that to say that we were put in situations of being othered and looked at, so that we would already be used to it when we brought our child home. Because, for the last 13 and a half years, we are stared at everywhere we go, right? We don't even notice it now, but people that are new friends of ours notice. Like, do you always get stared at? We're like, oh, we don't even care. We don't even notice anymore, but yes, we do. So.
Well, now we have a 6-foot black boy following us around now. That's all joke in itself, but there's some.
So we really get to know Lisa and Tiana on a very deep level. I'm texting Tiana like all the time, and she's really wanting to just get to know me as a person. I'm wanting to get to know her. And they want us at the hospital. They want us involved in the whole thing with Zaden's birth. And so he was supposed to be born on March 20th via C-section. And we are preparing to go up there on March 19th. She wanted to go to Olive Garden. She wanted a final meal before, the next day, going in the next morning to get checked in for her C-section. And then we get a call when we're on the way up there that she's actually in labor and we got to go to the hospital. And she is so upset she's not getting that Olive Garden meal. And I feel bad for her. I'm like, man, all she wanted was Olive Garden. She did get that Olive Garden meal later. But so as we said before, that we had made the nursery and it was elephants, right? And we're on our way down there. We're frantic because now we're going to meet our son like 24 hours earlier than we thought we would. The 19th is also symbolic for us. That's kind of our number. And so we were just like, is he really going to be born on the 19th? Like, that's crazy because that's just our number. I can't go into it really explaining why it's our number. It's just it's just a special number to Gerald that became a special number to us.
Not a numerologist or
no.
But I do believe in significance of numbers.
Oh, for sure. We believe in the significance of numbers. So anyways, the fact that he was born on the 19th was another God whisper. And then literally, y'all, we're driving down 35 towards Austin. And all of a sudden, I look up and we're behind towards Dallas.
Yeah.
Why did I just say Austin? Probably because I went to Austin this week. Anyways, I'm tired, y'all. It's been a busy week. So we're going towards Dallas, and we get behind this 18-wheeler, and I just happened to look up, and I'm like, am I seeing elephant feet in this 18-wheeler? And you're like, what? And I'm like, speed up a little bit, because it was a like few vehicles up. And sure enough, we get up there, and it is a real live elephant in this trailer. And we looked at each other like, okay, God, we hear you, we see you. So,
And an elephant in a trailer is not going to be too common.
I've never in my life, before or after, seen another live elephant in an 18-wheeler like that before.
Yeah, because usually they move animals at night like that.
Well, but elephants.
Anyway, I'm just saying.
You know what I mean? Like, that was
weird.
so crazy.
Yeah.
It was a very, very long night. I don't even know. Basically, it was just us with Lisa a lot that night.
We get there. We're waiting.
Yeah.
Tiana has to have the epidural. And
she actually never got one.
She never got one.
She was so young. She was 15 years old. And I don't want to tell too much of her story.
Yeah.
I know she shares like everything. She's an open book, but she was so young at 15 years old and just terrified. And of course, not only terrified because she's a child having a child, but also terrified because she's been carrying this baby for 9 months and then having to place him with us.
She's making the biggest decision she'll ever make in her life. She'll never make another big decision like that.
No.
That's what we tell Zaden to this day.
Yeah, like the most...
Yeah, that someone made a decision this huge for you.
Yeah. All for him, because she would parent if she could have made it work. But she wanted him to be in a loving home with two parents, and she wanted a better life for him than she could give.
Yeah.
And so it was just a lot of emotions. Like,
it was raining.
Storming,
we're sitting there with Lisa. It's just me, you, and Lisa. So it's not your typical welcome
waiting
home
room.
baby, like all the family there and stuff. It's just us three sitting there, and we're having this very intimate talk and this emotional up and down with Lisa. But obviously, we're just getting to know each other. And I remember there was a moment you left. You went somewhere. It's just me and Lisa, and she just told me, like, and it's something I said at Zaden's baptism too. Was just more or less like, she told me for him to know, to make sure that he knew his heritage and knew all the good parts of his heritage, but that he would know the Lord over all of that. And it stuck with me so bad, and that's why the baptism hit me so hard, because I was like, oh my gosh, like this moment is now happening, and we're working toward that. And it was just a very, almost like, that's where people that don't go through adoption understand, but people who go through adoption or looking at adoption need to understand, especially with open adoption. You create these, even if they're for a moment, you create these very brief relationships that are long-lasting and long impactful. They don't go away.
No. Well, you're creating essentially extended family.
Yes.
I mean, because they're literally biologically related to him. They are entrusting strangers to raise him. Open adoption is not for the faint of heart. It does not mean that everything works out perfectly. I mean, there's conflict. We've had conflict. We've always worked through it. But just like we fight in our marriage and fight for our marriage, we also fought, for this open adoption. And like, we were going to fight for it. We weren't going to let anything, keep this open adoption, from happening, because Zaden comes first. It's always about Zaden. And the good thing is they were very, like, the reason why they chose us was not just because of the open adoption, but because of our faith. And God had told them, like, we're all a part of one race, the human race. And the most important thing to them was him being raised in a home where Jesus was center. And that is one thing they wanted to reiterate over and over and over. So we are all Christians. Our faith is all very strong. And that is something that we could absolutely promise them, is that he would be raised to know and love Jesus.
Yep.
And we have kept that promise. We've kept all the promises. We are still in an open adoption and still in relationship. It was a very emotional night, March 19th of 2012. It was a stormy night. Unfortunately, because Tiana was so scared, they did have to, they could not give the epidural. She was too panicked for it, and so they had to put her to sleep through her IV. So, unfortunately, Lisa could not be in the room with her since she was under full anesthesia, and that was very heartbreaking for her. That is not what she had planned. It was hard not only because her grandchild was being born, but her daughter was also under anesthesia, and she was about to also, she had to place her grandchild too. They both were placing a child, And so the emotions were so deep and so heavy, but that waiting room time was not wasted. We had very deep conversation that night, and I don't know, I just think it was really beautiful.
It was.
The conversations that we were able to have. So
then I run down to get a phone charger.
Yeah, so it's storming. My phone's about to die, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need my phone charger. Gerald's like, I'll go get it, and I'm like, no, what if he's born? Like, what if we don't see him? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I'll run back and get it. And of course, right as he leaves, Zaden is born, and they're bringing him around to the waiting room in that bassinet on wheels. And I am feeling horrible because I sent you to get this charger and you're not there to witness this, right? And me and Lisa are trying to ooh and all over him, but I can't barely pay attention because the guilt is eating me alive that you're missing your son, the first glimpse at your son. But just as luck would have it, right when they bring him up to us, the elevator doors open and you're stepping out and you get to see him with us all together. Another God thing, like, you didn't miss that first moment. We literally got to experience it together because my guilt and stuff only lasted for 2 seconds because that's all it was before the elevator doors opened. Like, the timing was genuinely, like, so perfect. So we all stood there in the hallway before they took him to the nursery, just oohing and awing over him. None of us touched him or anything. We all wanted to give Tiana that first touch since she wasn't awake. So we just followed them to the nursery and we just oohed and all over him. And then we went back to our hotel because Tiana wasn't going to be able to see him until after she woke up. And we also really wanted to give her that space to be his mother, because you have to realize, yes, we're doing an adoption, but he's not ours. He's not ours at that moment. He's not ours until the papers are signed. That is her child. She is the mom, and her time with him is important. And I know a lot of people often, when we tell this story, are always like, I don't know how you do it. I wouldn't be able to do open adoption. I would have been there every second. And it's like, well, that's probably why God chose us to be adoptive parents and do open adoption, because if you're that self-centered, then maybe you shouldn't be doing adoption.
Well, it's not only self-centered. It's also like insecurity too. Like,
but it's still a self-centered thing, because you're not thinking of the child in that moment. So, and it's not necessary. I mean, if you are offended by that comment, I do apologize, but also check yourself, because we said we were going to be real and honest here. Mm-hmm. When I have people telling me things like, I wouldn't be able to do that, like, when you're saying I, the two people you're not thinking of is the mother who's making the hardest decision of her life, and you're not thinking about the child who deserves to know their mother.
Yeah.
So
no, I get it from that standpoint.
Yeah, so it's a self-centered view, which is why I say if you have that view, then adoption, especially open adoption, is not for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't be self-centered and be an adoptive parent in an open adoption.
Right.
Like, you just can't. Like, you can't let fear lead. You can't let insecurities lead. Like, I know my place as Zaden's mother, but I also knew Tiana had a place as his mother. You know, like, no, she's not raising him. No, it's not a co-parenting situation. Open adoption is not that. But she is the one that gave him life. She is his first mother, the one that carried him, chose life for him, prayed over him, also gave him a name, you know? Like, she deeply cares and loves this child, and then yet she's also so young making this decision, and then also choosing me and you to raise him. And we're still essentially strangers. We only knew each other for like a month and a week, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, that's heavy if you think about it. I wish we could say that the whole time was easy. She was actually in the hospital for a whole week because being that she didn't have the epidural, it was more of a painful healing. That particular hospital treated you and I like, I don't even know how to explain how they treat us, like criminals, kind of. I don't know, like
yeah,
we
they
were.
thought
I don't
we
know. It was
were-
really weird.
Yeah, we had to have our generations come up and sit with us, actually.
Yeah, because
They
every
thought we
time
were
coercing
coercing
them, yeah, it was really, the social worker there was awful, actually.
the one
And
that
every
worked at the-
time we walked through the doors, like, we wouldn't come up there,
Lisa
but
had to actually step in.
so did Tiana.
Yeah.
It was kind of crazy. So every single day that we were there, we actually never got there before lunch. We wanted to give her every morning and all through the night with him. We felt that bonding time was so important and necessary. In fact, they would call us and be like, when are y'all coming here? And we're like, well, we intentionally want to give you the time. And they're like, no, we want you here. But we just felt we needed to come after lunch every day. But every time we would get there, the nursing staff would get on the walkie-talkies and say the adoptive parents are on the premises. And it was just like bizarre. And then they'd follow us to the room. They'd be standing outside the door, like making sure. And Lisa and Tiana got upset and they were like, y'all need to back off.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this is not a coercion. We chose them. This is what we want. In the social worker's defense, literally next door, there's a drug addicted baby
I
being
forgot
born.
about that. Yeah.
Lady's losing her mind. They're constantly taking children, right? They're not, I don't even know. I think they said they've never seen a mother choose this, right? It's always been in a chaotic or a CPS type situation. And so they wanted to protect Tiana. I can see that by thinking they just didn't want her to feel like she's being manipulated and coerced
also,
and stuff like that.
Kathy from Generations came up there, and and this is a plug for if you're looking at this, get with a good agency. Like Generations is called now, they're called Nightlight Adoptions. But she came up there, and as soon as she came up there, the dust settled pretty quick.
Yeah.
She knew the words to say, she knew the avenues to take, and she kind of stood the gap in between us and the hospital and the situation, and really was a calming kind of presence that came in and just calmed all that down. But those moments in that room were very intimate, and I mean, Lisa's showing me how to change diapers, and
and she's making you do everything.
Yeah.
She's like, I know Tad knows how to do this. I'm gonna need Gerald to step up. And she was showing you how to feed them, hold them, do all the things. It was actually really sweet.
It was
really
moments
tender
that just stick with you.
Yeah. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
And I loved watching Tiana hold him. Ugh, here I go again. And Lisa hold him, but then also just be like, let me teach you about him. And I mean, teaching us little moments. I mean, she would say something funny like, now, I know you wear sunscreen, baby, because you're white as can be, but black people need sunscreen too. She's like, you don't want to make this baby blue or purple.
Like,
and she would make me laugh. She's like, that's a myth. We have skincare too. It was just really neat little moments. And I just really enjoyed the time that we got to spend with each other. It was an exhausting week because normally, they're released after 48 to 72 hours, and this was 5 full days because, well, you can't sign papers under medication, right? And then she had to heal. She had a painful healing process because there was no epidural. So it was a lot. And but we were able to use the chapel on day 5, and they had an entrustment ceremony that they did beautifully. They had some family friends come and perform the ceremony of where they're entrusting us to raise Zaden, and
that was really crazy too. Just standing, holding him,
my gosh,
and everyone
so
in their family, like all these family and friends that they had brought in, to just kind of pray over us. That was like I said, that was just a unique situation.
Yeah,
things that just never leave you.
They took it seriously too. They had what are those called? Not pamphlets, but kind of like what you get at a service.
Yeah. Like a bulletin or something.
Yeah. And it was very formal. It was beautiful. It was beautiful for them. Yeah.
It was. And then we wrap it up.
Well, the hospital wouldn't let us sign papers on the premises, which our adoption agency had never heard of before, but they did not want to be a part of it. So Tiana had to ride with us because she didn't have a car seat, but she had to be with her baby, right? Because we were planning on taking it home. So we all had to ride to her agency where we had first met them to sign the papers. And that was really hard because we have to go in separate rooms. And it felt
it's mixed emotions.
Yeah.
It was very mixed emotions because one person is gaining an opportunity, I guess, or an answer to prayer.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to explain it. It's one of those complex moments in life that I just can't really put words, because you have one family who is saying goodbye.
Yeah.
That they're saying, that again, this is something we remind Zaden of consistently. Whenever we pray for family and pray for birth families, pray for stuff like this, always remember you have people that made the biggest decision for you. It's almost, and that's why we always share that, it's almost like the putting Moses in the basket, and just pushing him off. I mean, that
and
moment,
trusting God that He's going to be taken care of.
To me, that moment really comes alive for me because of thinking of that lady just pushing, like, I can't, he needs a better situation because here is not going to be good.
Yeah.
But she never stopped loving him.
Right.
But it was kind of an open. It was an open adoption too, because she ended up breastfeeding that child. Remember in the Bible.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the mixed emotion you have, because you're sitting there and you're sitting in a room, and the next room over.
Yeah.
She's signing her rights away.
Yeah.
And so now they have to go off the trust
that we are who we say we are.
That we will send them things, that we will
stay in communication.
Yes, all these things. And we are committing to them.
Yeah.
For life, right?
Yeah.
And again, those things change as Zaden gets older. Those things change. But there's still that commitment stays there. And I think that's where it's hard to put into words, because it is such a heavy moment. Again, it was almost sitting in silence. Like we were just kind of sitting there.
It wasn't happy. It wasn't it was somber.
It was a very odd.
And he's with us, right? Because he can't be in there but like, I'm just like crying the whole time, because I just know the pain that she's feeling signing that. But I don't really know it because I'm not the one signing, but I'm a very empathetic person. I can literally feel people and their emotions, and it was very hard on me. I was so worried about her. I'll be very honest. I didn't bond with Zaden immediately because I could not stop thinking about Tiana. I felt, I don't know, I felt like I took a woman's child.
And it was different for you. There wasn't a birth father for me to talk to.
Yeah.
So immediately I bonded with Zaden. I'm the one,
Right.
doing everything they tell you. Take your shirt off, hold them with
Yeah.
your, skin to skin, all that stuff. But you have a birth mother that you're carrying on your shoulders
well, and
too.
you have to realize.
And a birth grandmother, and so it's just different. It was different for you.
Yeah, but also who I am as a person. I've been walking with teenagers for years.
Yeah.
Right? So my heart is for teenagers, and that's who Tiana was at the time, as a teenager who I cared deeply for and got to really know. And because we were so close, even after we got him home, I mean, we're giving them updates and stuff, but they're also giving us updates.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing from them that Tiana is basically having nightmares and hallucinating at night looking for him.
Mm-hmm.
And that wrecked me. And I said to Gerald, I think we need to give him back because I can't parent him when she's in so much pain.
Yeah.
It's like I was afraid to love Zaden because I didn't know if I'd be able to keep him. It was almost like I was in a postpartum depression, but it's actually called the adoption blues, because I could not separate myself from Tiana. And Gerald was like, no, absolutely not. And that's where my mother stepped in, because we had told people.
I think I called your mom. Or did I talk to her?
We'd just been talking to my mom, and my mom just made her own decision. But what we had been told and advised and was like, you need to bond with him by yourself for 2 weeks. Have no family, because he's never heard our voices before. So he's going to be dysregulated too. So a lot of people think, oh, well, you've had him since birth. Yeah, but he hasn't been hearing our voices for 9 months. It's loss and it's trauma for him already from the very beginning. He was actually a very difficult baby, probably because he was also feeding off my emotions and stuff at the time. He's never heard our voices before. We actually had her record a book. We'd given her a gift for her to record her voice reading him a book so that he could hear her voice and stuff. But I don't know, like a few days in, my mom was basically like, forget that. I'm coming there, and I'm going to be there for my daughter because my daughter needs me. She is not functioning very well because she's so worried about Tiana. And so my mom didn't even ask if she could come over. She just did it. And I'm actually very grateful that she did. She knows me well. And she actually had to step in and kind of mediate stuff, because we did have to draw some lines of boundaries as far as like what they should share with me, because while we were so close, they were sharing too much, and I was taking that on and not being able to function. And my mom was able to say, you need to stand in your power as his mother, because that's the job they chose you to do. And you need to have strength in that. Like, you are supposed to be his mother. They chose you to do that. They need you to do that. Tiana needs you to do that. And she's like, Gerald needs you to do that. And most importantly, Zaden needs you to be his mother. It's not that I wasn't taking care of him. I was just completely stressed. I mean, obviously I was holding him, feeding him, changing him, doing all the things. But I was so worried about Tiana that I just couldn't, I was just feeling disconnected. So I was feeling disconnected from Zaden, and honestly questioning if I loved him. I felt like I was just babysitting somebody's child that wasn't leaving. It was very odd for me. While you were in full dad mode, just connected and bonded with him immediately, right?
Staying up all night with him.
Yeah.
He never
Yeah,
slept.
he never slept, which was because new voices.
Yeah.
Also me, he's feeding off my energy, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm feeding off Tiana's. So it was a lot. That was a very hard conversation when we said we'd have to pull back. They were extremely offended by it. I'm sure it was scary for them because they were in a vulnerable moment, right? And they felt like, they were like, well, we should be able to share with you. We're family. And it's like, yes. However, this is affecting me so much that I can't parent. So I totally understood their side. I'm not sure that they really understood mine. So that was a very early conflict that we had to have, my mom and generations mediate, because I think they were scared that we were just going to close the adoption.
Right.
And that was not the case at all. I just needed to not know every hurt and pain that she was going through because I couldn't disassociate from that. It was I cried all the time because all I could think of was
Yeah, to the point where I didn't want to leave you alone.
Yeah, because all I could think of was this 15-year-old girl going through an immeasurable pain, and I'm thinking I caused it, which is obviously not the case, but that's who I am as a person. I want to make someone feel loved and cared for and valued, but I wasn't making Zaden feel that way. I was going through all the emotions, but I was just like questioning, do I love this child, right? So finally, we have that mediation and whatnot, and they understand. They realize we're not closing the adoption. That's not what it is. We can still communicate. I just need a little bit of space and some boundaries. We were still going to see them in a couple months. Like, we already had our first visit planned. And then one day, I'm watching the Ellen show, and I'm holding Zaden, and you had gone back to work, and I'm by myself. And I look down at him, and it just hits me how much I love this little boy. And I just cried, and I cried, and I cried, and just started praising God and thanking him. And I called Gerald, and I was like, I love him. I love him.
Yeah, I remember.
Because I was so scared. I was like, am I ever going to love this kid? Because it took about 12 days. It was a really long 12 days because I couldn't let myself love him because I thought I was going to have to give him back.
And that was on top of being a new parent.
Yeah, I mean, and all the sleep deprived,
stuff.
And it was so hard navigating it. So hard. And then everyone wanting to come and meet him and all the questions, and then can we throw you a sip and see? We all want to meet the baby, and then our teenagers wanting to come over and meet him.
I think our teenagers met him first.
Oh yeah, they were the first people besides my mom.
Yeah. That's what was crazy.
To meet him. That was really cool because they were just...
Zaden to this day meets some of those guys, and they all know him.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't know you. And I'm like, yeah,
I don't know you.
They're like, they were passing you around like a football.
Literally.
Literally, all the time. I mean, none of those guys had any issue holding him. They would just pick him up as this newborn and just... Oh, man, he was so loved.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. But then, in all honesty, is when we started questioning whether Grosbeck was the place to raise him.
Unfortunately.
And yeah, the teenagers actually had told us, are you sure you want to raise him here? And we were like, yeah. Why wouldn't we? And they're like, well, I mean, everyone loves y'all, He'll definitely be a skyby, but then he'll also be a skyby. So and we were like, what?
Yeah,
what do you mean
click.
by that? We were like, okay. And they were like, well, yeah, he's going to be loved by everybody because he's y'all's, but then he's going to be hated on by everybody because he's y'all's, because he's this black kid in this white family, and he's going to get a privilege that we don't get, and you need to be prepared for that. And we're just like, what? Like, they were having real deep, raw, honest conversations
That was
with
our
us.
core group of 5-6 guys.
Yeah, not the whole
Yeah.
20 plus
No.
guys, but they're like this core
We had a
group.
core
They were
group of
like
guys.
just warning us like how it would be, because they were saying like, you know, it just could be challenging.
Yeah, and we knew
We
it.
knew it.
Because there were still two sides of the tracks there, kind of, to say,
I think there still is. I think there's still
still
problems.
is.
I mean, they're literally in the news right now for this kind of stuff right now.
And there's still, it's just the way it is. I remember even when we were adopting, Zaden and I had a conversation with just some of the bank management just to let them know. And I felt that was weird. I had to.
Yeah.
And I didn't.
Yeah, like, just to let you know, this is an African American baby. And
and
some people didn't like that.
And
they were like, why would you do that?
Yeah, and so it was more or less, but the people that I thought a lot about didn't have anything. They were just like, well, yeah, of course. Why would he not?
Oh yeah, most people were amazing.
But there is that thing of like it would have been Gerald and Tabby's son, right? And the question that always hit me was like, was just looking at some of the, and not that we're trying to outrun the challenges, because there's always challenges, even with a kid in general, there's challenges, but with a kid of color and then in a transracial adoption family, however you would say that. So we started really praying through that. And we were driving back and forth to Antioch on Sundays. And we were really getting to know Fred Nelson at that time, and he was coming to Groesbeck. He was kind of acting as covering for our support, our group and stuff. Just kind of, he really took me under his wing and supported me for a while. And it was one of those really sweet moments. I really appreciated that he did that, because that meant a lot in those times. But he had announced that it was a Sunday, and he announced, hey, we're going to be doing a church plant in Houston, and kind of went over that whole process. Said, if you have interest, please just send an email here, or wherever. Me and Tab didn't say anything to each other. I think we went to lunch that evening. And I didn't want to say anything because remember, I'm the guy that wanted to move to China. So I'm like, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, you had said to yourself it would have to come from
I didn't even say anything. We just left church. What do you want for lunch? Went to lunch, had Zaden, went whatever.
Yeah.
And you said, what do you think? I think I'd like, or she said something like, I think I'd like to look at Houston, or what do you think about going to Houston? I'm like,
I said, I think at lunch I was like, hey, I want to say something about, we were talking about church and what we thought about the sermon. And I was like, well, I think I kind of felt a call to Houston and to help start Antioch Houston. And you said, I felt the same way.
Because again, God whispers.
Yes.
And we were already hearing those whispers, and we were already hearing and feeling something. And when that life change happened, I remember even having talks with some people in town. It's just like, things are just going to change because you have a kid now, right? But also it's doubly changed for us. So there's a lot of different things going on with our family.
Yeah.
And never a million years would I think I'm going to go move to Houston.
Oh my gosh, no, I never thought.
Or plant a church, or leave the place I was at, because I was on a track to be on the board hopefully one day. Like, it was just a whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, in my mind, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe they think differently. But
you probably were.
But I had a very good job there, and we were very well liked. We had a very good community, everything.
Yeah.
So why would we upheaval everything? And I just remember some of the, just really digging into prayer at those times, and just really reading over some of those really hard parts of the Bible, especially when Paul is really challenging you to just kind of, take those steps in your life.
Yeah.
Like, make the hard choices. Like, it's not about comfort.
Right.
It's about doing what's right. It's about doing
Yeah.
what needs to be done.
Right.
And we really felt like that needed to be done. Like,
Yeah.
we needed to move. We needed to have a new start. And And when we started making that choice, I remember we had our interest meeting, met the people that were all going to be a part of this group and stuff. Really hit it off with a lot of them. It was a great group. And we were definitely the new kids on the block. I mean, they all kind of knew each other, and we were kind of interjecting ourselves into all of this. And so I felt very, like, it was a decision that I was like, I don't know how we're going to do this, but I feel okay with this. Like, this is going to happen.
Yeah, we were both just like, we cannot raise him in Groesbeck. Unfortunately, it's just not the best place for us to raise him. And we wanted to go. Houston seemed like such a perfect opportunity because there's so many people of color there.
Yeah.
Doing all kinds of jobs and things. Like, there would be a lot of racial mirrors for him to see. Like, I mean, we went there, we got a black doctor, a black dentist, a black barber. Like, nothing, we would not have had that opportunity in Groesbeck for him. I needed him to have those racial mirrors, and Lisa and Tiana had asked us to do that as much as possible. So, like, it was all for him. And
I mean, that's partially, why we sticked around Antioch too, because it was somewhat.
Oh, it was very diverse.
For Waco.
Yeah. And so we were like, okay, God, if this is what you want for us, then you're just going to have to make it work. And it honestly worked effortlessly. The house sold very quickly. Which is wild in Groesbeck because that just doesn't really like happen at the time. We found a place to rent while we went down there and we built a house, and we found a place to rent while our house was being built that would let us month to month. Like, everything just worked seamlessly. Yeah. Like, God just really wanted us there.
When I got my job there, I got my job at Amity. Again, I really believe a God moment, because I get in touch. I'm driving down there. We have Zaden. He's screaming. And I'm trying to take off from work, and I never take off. And I'm already taking off like 2 days in 1 week to go do this. We're going up there for an interview. Took y'all, meet someone, and they're like, we don't know how to fit you into this place. You're from this small community bank. How do we fit you in this huge bank, right? Yeah. But we want to hire you, but give us something. And I remember just sitting back, and I'm just like, well, here's the thing about me. I don't even own any ties. Like, I literally stopped and bought this tie on the way up here. And I have a child, and I just went over, like, I just started sharing my whole thing. And I remember the lady's name was Ronnie, and she was the HR person. She's like, give me a minute. She leaves the room. She's like, can you come back down here Friday, right, for an interview with our VP of whatever, business something. And I was like, yeah, sure. Go back down on Friday. And I meet the guy, Chuck Bowman. First thing me and Chuck Bowman talk about, he goes, you know my father. And I'm like, I know your father? Yeah, he goes, Chuck Bowman Sr. A bank way back in McCoy Myers days, whenever I was working, and this guy who I thought did not like me, his son is working in Amity as one of the VPs now, and actually gives me a good reference with his son. And I'm like, wait, because right when he said to him, I was like, oh, I'm not getting this job. Yeah. And he gave me a good reference. Yeah. And it just shows, like, all these relationships, just like we keep talking about, no matter if they're like moment relationships, how much they impact. Right. Like, because God already had kind of a job lined out. I was like, yeah, you're working here. This is where this is going to line up. This is where this is going to line up. And so it was just a really, again, just a crazy 6 months.
Well, and period. like you said, Zaden, when we rode with you, was screaming the entire way. He hated riding in the car, by the way. It was miserable.
Still does. He still asks 1,000 times.
Yeah, it was so miserable. And we're just like, the way they were like, why are we doing this? This is so crazy. Like, we cannot get him to stop screaming.
At one point, I exited the freeway and was like, we're going back.
I was like, you are getting back on this freeway. We cannot let this get in the way. And it's like, they were like, we don't know where we're going to put you, but we're going to put you somewhere. Yep. Like, you're going to have a job.
And that just leads to a whole nother
that
thing.
leads to one of the best. We have to talk about it next, not today, but we have to talk about it next. That leads to Rita.
Yeah. Yep.
And
that's a crazy one.
One of the best things that ever happened to us, and I'm not going to get teary-eyed right now because that story is very cool.
So that one was, okay, episode 10.
Yeah.
Wrapped up.
That was more of, just a little bit of details episode and how we got to Houston and the way that God whispers. And so I just want to pray about.
And I really hope that if praying through this and thinking through this, if there's people out there that are on the adoption bubble, if you will, or if you're just thinking about it, or because we met a lot of people at the Nightlight conference there's a lot of couples that come and they haven't made a decision, but they come because they're just curious, right? That's one thing that we have done in the past too, just sit with couples and we'll give you the lowdown, raw detail of what it is to expect. And the other thing is we know plenty of other couples that have been through all the other adoption channels that can give you that same, if that's one thing Waco has, we have a great adoption community
for sure.
That can give you every piece of information. So when you go at it, lessons learned, you can learn.
And it's just not something you can just jump into because you're emotional about it and you want to save kids. It's not like that. We're not saviors. We're parents. And
That's right.
And you don't, if that's how you're going into adoption, then adoption's not for you.
Right.
If you want to be a parent, then, and that's what you care about and your best interest is the child, then I would say you're ready to adopt, So pray about it, be diligent about it, do your research, get training, read books, talk to people that have been through it. Because it's not just some decision you can make all willy-nilly and you're like, oh, adoption just sounds good. It's way more complex to that because like I said, it's trauma, it's loss, it's a bunch of things. Is it worth it? 1,000%. There's not one thing that we would change. And so, but we were educated going in. And so I highly, highly, highly recommend you being educated going in to adoption, being educated on transracial adoption if you're open to that. But more importantly, how to treat expectant mothers and or just how to be able to educate others kindly, because we've had a lot of off-color comments made to us, and like you have to be bold. You can't just brush things off. There are things not okay. I've had to tell multiple
people that are close to us.
Yeah, multiple people. No, you don't say that.
Yeah.
No, you don't do that. Like, let me educate you on this. Like, I'm like, people would even say things to me like, are you afraid she's going to come back and steal the baby? And I'm like, what? She's not a criminal. She's a mother who placed the child. Like, she made the decision. Like, stop watching Lifetime movies. Like, quit. That's not where you should get your information. So you just have to be thick-skinned and ready to just correct well-meaning people that say really dumb things.
So let's just end it there where maybe God's whispering something for someone and whatever that looks like. Maybe it's not adoption. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's whatever it is. It could be something within the marriage, within a situation right now. So
job situation,
friendships. But God is always moving us in a forward direction, not always the easiest direction.
Right.
Because those quiet prayers that we pray of wanting to know Him more, wanting to have freedom, like as we've talked about pornography and marriage and all these things like that, these things are not easy to go through. And when you pray for freedom, you pray for things, you pray for help, you have to be ready because God is going to push you in some really tough places because it looks tough to us, but it just makes sense in the kingdom.
For sure.
So
the waiting is not wasted.
Yeah.
And just press into the Lord.
Yeah.
Press
So
into prayer time.
I'll
So
close this
important.
out, and then you can
Okay.
start. I'll start and you close.
Okay.
I'll leave it back the other way this time.
That sounds good to me.
So God, we are so thankful for this platform you give us, this time, this stories you give us to share. Pray, Lord, that you would just be over the people listening, Lord, that whatever hits their heart, whatever God is whispering to the listener right now, Lord, whatever comes of this podcast and this episode, Lord, I pray that you give people just that gentle push, Lord, but also just give them things that would just be special to them throughout their day, Lord, that would be little signs of just you being there with them, whether that be a verse, whether that be a word or anything, Lord. And we thank you, Jesus, for the people you've put in our path. We thank you for this family you've knitted together for us, Lord, and we are appreciative of you, Lord. Thank you. Amen.
Jesus, we just thank you so much for who you are, all that you do for us, Lord, seen and unseen. We are so thankful for the way that you whisper to us in the waiting, that you want all the good things for us, Lord. And even when we can't see it, even when we feel desperate or lost or lonely or our emotions get the best of us, you're there and you always go before us. And I'm just so grateful that you are the great dot connector, that you whisper to us. I'm thankful that you also speak loudly to us. Thank you that you just want to get our attention, Lord. I pray that you get people's attention during this episode, whatever it is that they're going through. And I just thank you in advance for what you're doing in their lives as they listen. We are just so grateful for the way that you speak through us, even when sometimes we're unpolished and kind of can be a little chaotic and go in circles in our storytelling. It's just because we're excited and we have a lot to share. And so, but I know that you're connecting the dots and you're speaking to people in a way that we don't even realize, because you are the one to be glorified. We thank you for what you're doing. We love you, we praise you, and we ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Till next. Thanks so much for listening to I Still Do. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. We'd also love to hear from you, so if you have any questions or even a story you'd like to share with us to get our advice on, please feel free to send us an email at geraldandtabby@istillDoPodcast.com. Until next time, keep choosing love and each other, because we still do.